This episode of the LCTV News is brought to you by Leo Inc., Daolis Brothers Construction, and King Movers and Storage.
Good morning, everyone. Welcome to March and hopefully the start of spring. Or it may be snowing again next week. This is New England. News this week favors events over headlines, as organizations preferred show over tell when documenting community gatherings. One of the largest purchases in your life will be a house, and that can feel overwhelming. Luckily, we had a local real estate agent on the Lowdown to give a step-by-step guide for first-time homebuyers. So let's get to it with the news for Friday, March 7th, 2025. The CMCC has been going through many changes the last few years, from moving into a new building to recruiting several new board members. To this end, they hosted a jazz reception and photo exhibit the evening of February 28th to both celebrate Black History Month while also showing the community they are still here and diving right back into programming. See for yourself.
All right, thank you very much, everyone, for coming out to CMCC to celebrate the end of Black History Month, actually. All right, this is the last day of Black History Month. We've had 15 events here in 28 days. 15 events. Nobody else is doing that, all right? I challenge anyone to find any of the organizations that have 15 events in 28 days. Now, we have today, again, the end of Black History Month. We have a photo exhibit and a jazz reception, as we're calling it. That's just to reach out to the community and kind of give them an idea of what we're trying to do here. CMCC has been a staple of the community, the Lynn community, again, since 1971. 1971. And some people probably didn't even notice, as you were browsing through our hallways here, we do have some portraits of some of the original founding members of CMCC. They're in portraits right out here in this hallway. It was all about learning about your culture, your history, and giving young people a place to go so they would have some self-esteem. They give you all the information you need about how to, if you want to go to college someplace. They took us on field trips. And that's what CMCC is about trying to recapture right now. So again, if you're not told that, you're not given that opportunity, people take different turns in life. But you have to give them an opportunity.
My Brother's Table will be holding their annual calendar raffle this spring, with a winner every day of April and a bonus prize on May 1st. Prizes include Red Sox tickets, restaurant gift cards, theater tickets, and more. Raffle tickets are $30 a piece, $50 for 2, $100 for 5, $250 for 15, and $500 for 35. Those who purchase tickets at the $100 level and above will be entered into a bonus raffle for the chance to win $500 in scratch tickets. Even better, each ticket has 30 chances to win, as the winning tickets are re-entered into the raffle. If your ticket is a winner, you will be notified via email. Tickets are on sale now via their website. All proceeds raised help fund meals and other programming at My Brother's Table. If you were along Lynn Common yesterday, March 6th, You likely saw the signs and black balloons. Signs display the faces of those lost to addiction and overdose, a serious tribute meant to spark awareness and remembrance. This event, part of the National Black Balloon Day, is organized locally by Diana Hurley to break the stigma surrounding addiction and support those in recovery. Hurley began the initiative in 2015 after losing her son-in-law to addiction. What began as a request on Facebook to hang black balloons in remembrance of loved ones has grown into a Black Balloon Day page with over 14,000 members. In 2019, the group became a nonprofit, raising money through golf tournaments and comedy shows to fund people's rent for sober living houses. Now in their 10th year, signs and balloons were set up at 8:30 a.m. around the Common and taken down at 5 p.m. With each balloon, Hurley hopes people will reflect and recognize the human toll of addiction. Now in its 4th year, the Media Expo at Lynn Tech gets bigger each time, and 2025 was no exception. Resource tables line the cafeteria, framing a full audience of students and 4 stellar panelists, all with the goal of paying it forward to the next generation.
All right, what's going on, everybody? How are we doing today?
Yeah, so this is our 4th annual Multimedia Expo that's going on, and it's an opportunity for meeting people, an opportunity for access to equipment and access to resources. I think that's so important, now in 2025 is being able to have access to different places and access to different people. Because TV production is one thing about learning about equipment, one thing about knowledge, but to actually get the job, it's all about networking. It's all about getting to know people. It's all about, in terms of internships and jobs and what have you. So we want to really give people a head start here at Lynn Tech, and this is one of the events that we have to do so.
I definitely think that events like this teach you how to communicate, how to put yourself out there, and how to form connections that are always valuable in your life. It makes you really value your community and know that you don't have to go outside to find something good.
Where people have really helped me out in my career, it's an obligation. I think it's a moral obligation for all of us to pay it forward, and that's really what started this event. Is how can you take your resources, how can you take your networks, and how are you going to give it back to the students?
One thing that I feel like I've stuck with is, and a quote I live by is, you can't control the wind, but you can adjust your sails. I mean, I know we're all got stuff that we're going through, but you have to believe in yourself. I mean, if you don't believe in yourself, who will? So just make sure you keep doing what you're doing, do what you need to do.
Or whether you, again, may want to be an accomplished singer or electrician or architect or whatever, social worker, whatever you want to be, again, follow your dreams. Don't let anyone tell you can't be. You can be.
Being at Channel 5, you do see a difference in respect for the job, I feel like, which is great, but also it kind of is frustrating because I'm like, well, no, not every viewer is going to watch every single station, so if you have good things to say, I think you should try and get it out to the biggest audience possible.
You can go and create stuff all on your own. You don't necessarily need to go to a station. You don't need somebody to give you a job to create your own thing, right? And it may not come instantly. In many cases, it's good to go off and you get your job and to learn those chops. But don't be afraid to fly out of the nest.
It's just you just never know who you're gonna come across in your future. So bring that energy, just be you. I think I just want to leave it on that as a mic drop. Just be you and it will carry you. So thank you guys.
Reading is an integral part of how we learn and connect with others. To this end, the City of Lynn celebrated Reading Across America Month by inviting local leaders to read to elementary school students. Mayor Nicholson was at Cobbett Elementary the morning of the 5th, reading to a first grade classroom.
Hi, I'm Mayor Jared Nicholson, and I am here at Cobbett Elementary to celebrate Read Across America. I just read to a class of first graders and had a wonderful time. Yeah, Read Across America is a national month in the month of March where we celebrate reading with young people. And the Lynn Public Schools has really embraced this, and there are celebrations and events in the elementary schools where community members are invited in to share their love of reading with our students. My favorite part of reading to the kids is that after we do the book, we have questions, and some of the questions are just so fun and entertaining and special. Our young students here are incredible, and it's so great to be able to interact with them. Yeah, I mean, reading is a foundation of knowledge and learning, and so we need all our students to love reading, and one way to grow the love of reading is to share that love of reading with students. And so inviting folks that to come in the building and share their love of reading supports the amazing work that our staff and faculty do to promote reading.
Three new officers were sworn into the Lynn Police Force on March 4th, having graduated from the Linfield Municipal Police Training Committee Academy. Friends, family, and several city officials, including Mayor Nicholson, gathered at LPD headquarters to celebrate officers Yanni Moratis, 24, Nicholas Davidson, 31, and Robert Valerie, 28. The three referenced what drew them to law enforcement, ranging from a childhood dream to changing career paths. Police Chief Reddy was also in attendance, adding, quote, "It's a lot of work to get here. I talked to them right after graduation about the grind of the academy, and now they're going through orientation. Very soon they'll be out there, truly making a difference," end quote. The 41st ranked Rams girls gave it their all, but ultimately fell to 9th ranked Norton 50-37. Classical completed an upset just to make it this far in the tournament, but the Sweet 16 is where the 14-7 Rams will bow out. 59-37 ball game. If this sounds familiar, you've likely been watching the first-seeded St. Mary's girls on their dominant playoff run. So far, no opponent has posted a final score within 20 points of the Spartans, and East Bridgewater was no exception. In this particular game, the top-ranked team got off to a fast start, scoring 25 in the first quarter, 11 by their ace, Bella Awumi. She also added 14 rebounds to the stat sheet. After three, it was 43-32, with the Vikings still within striking distance. But a three-pointer by Juliana Conte kicked off a 9-2 run, and before long, it was 52-33 and game over. The 23-3 Spartans will now wait and see who they will face in the Final Four. With just one position separating them, the 16th-ranked Rams had their work cut out for them against 17th-ranked Pittsfield. In the end, Classical defended their home court in a tight 78-76 overtime victory. With 33 seconds remaining, Shai Bab went 1 for 2 at the line to force overtime. From there, Classical's Cameron Rucker was fouled with 2 seconds remaining, where he connected with both free throws for the win. Then for the game of the week, Classical versus St. Mary's for a spot in the Elite Eight. In front of a packed house, the top-ranked Spartans defended their home court with a 75-54 win. It was a game all about runs and momentum, as St. Mary's went on a 7-0 run to begin the game. But Classical fought back, closing the gap to only 4, 31-27 by halftime. The turning point came in the second half, which the Spartans began on a 12-2 run. Additionally, they increased their defensive pressure, resulting in bad passes by the Rams and fast break points for the hosts. When all was said and done, the Spartans led for the entire game, topped by J.J. Martinez's 26 points and June Vasquez's 15. They will face Abington in the round of 8. While the Tech boys joined the Sweet 16 party, taking down 25th-ranked Millis 65-53. Giovanni Jean was everywhere, attacking the rim for a double-double, 26-point, 10-rebound night. In the third quarter, Brandon Atwine scored 15 points and 4 steals total, buried 2 from downtown. Andy Batista contributed another, Add on a mid-range jumper from Jean, and Tech built a 17-point cushion entering the final period. The Tigers won again to advance to the Elite Eight, defeating Manchester Essex 59-49 despite being ice cold for the first half of the game. Neither team had much momentum in the first half. By the end of one, it was Hornets 17-9, but the Tigers shrunk that lead to two, 27-25 by the end of two. It was an entirely different game in the second half, as Jean netted 9 of his 13 points in the third, turning a deficit into a 43-49 lead. Tech also began boxing the Hornets out more successfully, with Jean grabbing 11 rebounds and Ulysses Diaz adding another 9. Batista and Travis Sanchez contributed a team-high 14 points apiece. In the final 8 minutes, the Tigers took over, outscoring Manchester Essex 16-10. At 44-18, the Celtics are trending towards a playoff berth and a chance to defend their title. But the headline this week is the record-breaking performance by Derek White and Peyton Pritchard. 3 starters sat the night of the 5th, but the Celtics still pulled out a 128-118 victory over the Portland Trailblazers, thanks to this dynamic duo. Pritchard drained 10 three-pointers, and White added on 9, giving them a total of 19. This sets an NBA record for most made three-pointers by a team of teammates. Their 84 points are the most any two Celtics have combined to make. They are also the first pair of Boston teammates to top 40 points each. Pritchard hit 43 and White added 41. If that wasn't enough, they are also the first pair of teammates in league history to top 40 points with at least 7 three-pointers each. We did something a little different for the Lowdown this week. A local real estate agent was our guest, providing information and advice for first-time homebuyers in the city of Lynn. It was an eye-opening experience for me, and I hope you learned something from it as well. Here is the Lowdown. Hello and welcome back to the Lynn Lowdown. I'm Dani Vittori, and today we welcome on Juan Rodriguez, a real estate agent from the city of Lynn. Thanks for coming on today.
Thank you, Dani. It's a pleasure. Thank you for having me. Like she mentioned, I'm Juan Rodriguez. I'm a realtor from Lynn. I have about 6 years in the industry. Born and raised here. My team and I, we did 120 deals last year, so we have a ton of experience, ton of knowledge, and a ton of insightful things to get to today. So I'm excited, and I appreciate you for having me.
There's a lot of seminars, you're here to talk about yours specifically, and why would you say yours is, what separates yours from others?
Well, I definitely recommend attending seminars in general. You always learn stuff, get prepared, learn tips and tricks, which is always good ahead of time. One of the biggest reasons I started hosting my own seminars was I have a whole entire team dedicated to my clients from steps A through Z. Long story short, whether it's like a home inspector, home insurance agent, lawyer, or lender for financing, I have all those people set up at their own place in the process.
Okay.
And I orchestrate it all. So when you attend my seminars, not only do you learn the tips and tricks on how to save money, the exact things to do, you also get the guidance from 30-year veterans in the field. Live time, you can ask questions. There's Q&As at the end, so it's not just me. I have professionals at each step of the way, and they're literally there showing you guys what we do and what makes the buying process kind of streamlined with us. So that's why I recommend people definitely attend my seminars.
And you mentioned some of the steps A to Z. Would you be able to go into a little more detail? You mentioned them like budget, inspection, the different elements of it.
Yeah. All right, well, briefly, there's about 5 to 6 major steps. And like I mentioned, the first step would be communicating with me, telling me what you want in the house, kind of what your plans are, what your goals are.
Yeah.
That way I can set up a timeline that fits your needs. You talk to me, and the first step would be to figuring out your budget. A lot of the times there's homes that people like, but the monthly budget is what we should be looking at. Because you could love the most expensive car, but it doesn't necessarily mean you want to pay for the most expensive car.
Right.
So to figure that out, we want to speak to a lender, which I have on my team. I've done a ton of deals with him, a lot of first-time home buyers. He knows exactly what he's doing. With him, you will figure out what you're looking to spend monthly. And based on what you want to spend monthly, let's just say example is $3,500. We'll know we need to shop in a range from $450,000 to $500,000 to get that monthly budget. We'll also know how much you need for a down payment based on that, and we'll also know how much money you need for closing costs, which is expenses that it takes to close a deal, other than your down payment. With that being said, just for that bit, I have your lender there ready. As soon as you're done with him, it's easy, it's free actually, so there's nothing to worry about. We move on to find the property you like, which I have a lot of off-market inventory. I work with the #1 brokerage in the country, which is Compass. We have the most off-market opportunities in the North Shore, especially me and my team. We have a lot of opportunities for buyers. So I'll present those along with whatever's on the market. I make an offer, that gets accepted. I have a home inspector for you. You don't have to worry about hidden damage. You don't have to be afraid of, I don't know if I should pull the trigger. I don't know if there's anything, excuse me, wrong with this home.
Yeah.
I have a 30-year veteran who checks homes inside out. Goes from there to an attorney, from there to an appraisal, from there to a home insurance agent. And I could go on and on, but each step of the way, there are major thoughts, whether it's from hidden damages on a property to buying a house that somebody owes a whole bunch of money on, which is what the lawyer's gonna make sure you don't do.
Right.
And yeah, I go on and on, but each step of the way, each important step, there's a professional waiting for you, and I orchestrate it all, so we never lose track and we know exactly where we are.
Yeah, and you can tell you're very knowledgeable about it as well. And I know, and from your perspective as a real estate agent, why is it so important to find one that you communicate well with and you really work well with? That relationship between real estate and buyer really is important.
Yeah. I feel like relationship is #1 because you definitely don't want to be with an agent who's just, hey, sign here, sign here, sign here, on to the next. It's a very stressful process for the buyer, which if you work with the right agent, they'll know how to talk to you, they know how to communicate with you, they know what points to hit without you even having to tell them. So having a relationship with somebody you trust, and you're also in a kind of business relationship as well.
Right.
But being able to find common ground, knowing how to laugh with your clients and just kind of make the best out of it. I think having a personal relationship with your agent is going to be super important to not only make the buying process less stressful, but also make it a fun one as well.
Yeah, get people more excited about it because it is a big deal getting home.
Yeah. Some people are just like, okay, sign here, sign here, sign here. They work part-time. It's like they're not really with you. They're just, okay, they leave a meeting and call you. And there's some people who like literally wake up and it's like, all right, today's inspection day. I got this really cool home inspector. Like he's going to tell you exactly what it is. But he's also super funny and serious at the same time. So be at ease. There's nothing to worry about. Like you're protected. And yeah, buying a house could seem like a boring process, or it could seem like a very fun process you're excited for.
Yeah, definitely. And what would you say, like how, if you're, off looking at the market, how often would buyers themselves be looking, checking homes? Does that fall more to the real estate agent and more sending the buyers potential options? How does that work?
Yeah, so with my company, Compass, we actually have our own app. And I set my clients up on a custom search, where, like I mentioned earlier, has a lot of off-market inventory that's just unique for agents inside the company.
Okay.
Which is a unique kind of value add. But also everything that's on the market, which updates every second of the day with new homes that match your criteria and homes that just match your budget. Only curated for you. So as far as how often they should be looking at homes, I mean, I feel like it depends. If you're looking to buy a year from now, I mean, there's really no reason to be checking every day. But when my clients are active, I send them properties every Thursday and Friday, because those are when the new homes for the week come on the market. So even if they're busy working, you can feel confident that I'm going to send you what fits your criteria. If you tell me looking for a 3-bed, 1-bath home, but you work 60 hours a week, on Fridays I'll send you the houses that I think you'll like, at least 3 to 5 of them. That way, heading into the weekend, if you didn't get a chance to look at them, you already have an email with the homes that I recommend you look at. So, yeah.
Yeah, so that's a great thing about it. And you were also talking about, I'll move on a little bit to inspection. You're mentioning maybe potential hidden problems. What are some of the most common things you'd say, even if you're just going through a house yourself, what would you look for?
One of the most common things to look for, and what I would suggest my clients look for, is really just the age of the major systems, whether it's the roof, your water heater, if it's oil, like what's the condition of the oil tank, things like that. If it's central AC, the condenser outside. Those are things that a lot of times the sellers will already put kind of in their bio, but if they don't, they may be owed, so there's really no reason to add that because, who wants to know these systems are owed?
Right, yeah.
So I would always ask the seller's agent or the homeowner, hey, what are the age of these major systems if they're not readily available? So that's something a buyer could look at. If they're not too skilled in, zooming in on water heaters and water tanks to figure out the age, that's what a home inspector is for. And not only will he look at the major heating systems, he'll look at windows, your shingles outside, your foundation, electrical, plumbing. So it goes a lot into detail, but long story short, water heater, age of the roof, and your heating and cooling systems. That's what I would suggest trying to get a gist of as soon as you get into a house.
Oh, nice. That's good. Very good, obvious things for people to look for. And then one last question I will have is, say, put in an offer, gets accepted. How does the negotiation process work? I get to that point, to get to the final price, get to the close.
Okay, so the negotiation process is in two places. Excuse me. The negotiating process is in two places. When you're making the offer, you want to make sure you have the best terms possible. So for example, you're a buyer and there's a seller. As far as negotiating, you kind of want to pre-negotiate prior. So if you know the seller wants to close in 60 days or 21 days, you obviously want to position yourself to be in the best negotiating place possible. Yeah. If they want to close in 21 days and that's something you're flexible with because you're a month-to-month lease, then you can close in 21 days and negotiate yourself in the best position prior, as long as it fits what you want to do. The second part of that is if there's a home inspection and there are hidden damages, the home inspector will give us a report and me and my client will review it. We'll go over it. And if there's anything that's pressing, deal breaking, there's definitely space to negotiate because the last thing the seller wants to do is go back to the market, host open houses again, and go through the whole entire process again. Right. While at the same time, we also want to make sure our clients buy a home that's not crumbling and they don't go in with a $20,000 bill right away. Right. So when that time comes, that's when the negotiations will start. But in reality, that doesn't really happen too often. Water heaters, roofs, all these systems are meant to be used. Homes are meant to be kept up with. Yeah. So you will run into situations where things are older, but that doesn't necessarily mean that they have to get replaced right away, or you have to break a whole entire deal for it. Yeah. Like if you buy a car and the engine is 4 years old, it's like, it's old, but it's not 30 years old either. Yeah. So there's a middle ground, and every situation is different. Every price point is different. So it really depends. It's very intricate. But if there are negotiations, it's either before you submit an offer to win the offer, or when you have a home inspection, and if there's any damages, you want to negotiate for.
Great. Yeah. So you definitely went into a lot of detail about it, which is very helpful for me and so many people watching. But I do have to wrap up in a moment, but was there anything else? I feel like we went through the whole process, but was there anything else you wanted to mention?
A couple of things I would like to mention for anyone who's looking to buy a house within the next 6 to 12 months. The last thing you want to do is wait a month before your lease ends. Buying a house takes at least 1 to 2 months. So the last thing you want to do is be forced to sign a new 12-month lease, be rushed into buying a property just because you want to buy one. Right. You want to start the buying process 3 to 4 months prior. And that doesn't mean you have to go out tomorrow and write an offer. Yeah. It just means having a simple conversation with me. Let's figure out your budget. Let's make sure you have the cash on hand to close on a property. Let's figure out the areas you can afford. Maybe you can start looking in the area to see where you want to move. You don't just want to wait, my lease ends in 31 days. Let me contact Juan. Like, you definitely want to be proactive. And if you have time, be proactive. Because if you're not proactive, within that time, you'll just be in a rush. So it's kind of a double-edged sword having time. But my biggest tip is just be proactive, reach out sooner than later, and make sure you're on the right path and prepared.
Great. Perfect. Yep. So I couldn't have said that any better myself, but I want to thank you again so much for coming on to really share some of your knowledge about the home buying process.
Well, thank you, and I appreciate you having me on today.
Of course, anytime. And once again, I'm Dani Vittori. This has been the Lynn Lowdown, and we'll see you next week with more guests. Tax season is approaching, and you can join the CSA Society Boston for a free presentation from financial professionals at the Lynn Public Library. At 6:30 p.m. on March 12th, come ask your questions about income tax so you can get them filed properly and in a timely manner. You must be 18 years or older to attend. Visit the Lynn Public Library's website to learn more. Follow this up with a presentation of 100 Years of Boston Comedy, presented by Nick Zano at the Lynn Museum, also on the 12th. Beginning at 7 p.m., come enjoy this free hour-long presentation about Boston's long history of comedy, from vaudeville to swing clubs to YouTube. There will also be a Q&A session with Zano following it. Come learn more about this piece of the American entertainment industry. Next Saturday, the 15th, connect with Lynn City Councilors Natasha Mejimadre, Nicole McLean, Coco Allensug, Fred Hogan, and Obed Matul at the Item Cafe. From 1 to 3 p.m., come learn about what your councilors do, how their decisions impact your life and community, and why staying engaged is so vital. Ask questions, share your concerns, and learn more about the initiatives shaping the city. This event is free and open to the public. With that, we have reached the final bell in this week's newscast. As always, follow @Lynn Community TV on social media for real-time story updates and all our latest videos. If the previously listed events are of interest to you, check out our complete community calendar and VOD on lyntv.org. For staff content going all the way back to the beginning, Lynn Community Television on YouTube is the place for you. I'm Dani Vittori, this is LCTV News, and we will see you next week.
This episode of the LCTV News is brought to you by Leo Inc., Daolis Brothers Construction, and King Movers and Storage.